Alright, now we're going to see if this is going to fit, line up with the holes. I like to use these Nylox. They're a nylon lock nut. I use these almost exclusively anymore. I don't use those split lock washers. They're just a pain in the butt. And these work real good. The only thing that's rough with these is when you're putting them on, you can't just spin them all the way down and cinch them. You got to drive them the whole way once that lock is engaged. But that just makes you want to get the right size. Alright, our rear holes aren't really lining up very well. Again, you know, this press was probably homemade. It definitely looks homemade. And they probably just marked and drilled these out by hand. So, I don't expect it to line up perfect at all. Might be able to get this one in. Maybe. Now, so what I'm going to do, I'll just tighten these up, the front two, and then I'll drill those back ones out. Just go the rest of the way through. We'll use the holes on the plate as a guide, essentially. Oh yeah, that's going to work good. We're going to have plenty of travel on the other side for tensioning. The motor's on here nice and square. Alright. So, need to get this wired up, bolted on here. And then we can crack a hose and pump all the oil out using the motor. So that we can change all of these hoses. Alright, we've got to check and make sure this is hooked up for the right voltage. It has a diagram on here for 115 versus 230. You want to make sure you get your voltage right. You fry your motor first time you start it up, or make it really unhappy anyway. And then we're going to take out this knockout on the side. So we've got T1. Okay, that we just leave alone. We got P1, goes to line no matter what. Right, then we got T2, 3, and 8. 2, 3, and 8. That's the setting for 110 volt. And then we should have over here, we got 5 and 4. Okay, wait a minute. So you got T3, T2, and T8. This is P2, T3, and T8. So we take T2 out of there. And we bring in P2 over here. Those go together. And that's it. So we'll just wire nut those. Alright, P2, T3, T8, P3, T3. Okay, so that's right. Alright, so those are happy. We'll just stuff those in the box. Alright. Then the other one's supposed to be T2, T4, T5. So we got 4, and 5, and then there's the 2 we just took off. Alright, so those 3 go together with the other line voltage wire. Okay, now the other thing that this says that we should be paying attention says counterclockwise rotation facing the lead end. Lead end. I always thought this was shaft end. Lead end is that one. Alright, so counterclockwise is that way. That's not the direction this was turning. Alright, so swap T5 and T8 for the other direction. So get 5. Alright, so switch T5 and T8. So this should be T3, T5, and P2. Alright, you gotta really pay attention to these. It can get pretty confusing, especially since all these leads are the exact same color. But everything you need is right there on the nameplate. You just gotta pay attention. It's a good reason to keep that nameplate clean and don't smash it or ding it or anything like that, so you can see what's going on with your motor. And if you pull a motor off of a piece of old equipment, you want to reuse it, you can still hook it up right. Alright, so now we got T2, T4, and we should have T8. There's 8, 2, and 4. Alright, so that's going to be power. So let's I'm going to do a new piece of cord over this thing instead of that house wire they had. I'm just using some extension cord. This cord is, it takes 15 amps, which is what this motor pulls, so that should be alright. You get done putting your wire nut on, you shouldn't be able to pull it off. If you can, you don't have it right. Okay, now we gotta see about ground. Okay, I should have done that first. There's a little green guy in there, that's your ground lug. You want to put a ring terminal on this and solder it on, so that's what we're gonna do. You can just crimp it too. I think I might do that. When you do your crimp connectors, look for that seam in there. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. Focus, focus. There, you can just barely make out. There's a seam down here in the bottom where this piece of metal was formed together. You want to make sure you put that seam in your crimper on the round side, okay? That way when you clamp it, it pinches only the other side. Otherwise, if you do it the wrong way, it'll just pinch one side in and it won't hold very good. These are never terribly easy to get to. I don't understand why that's always right next to where you're going to run your wire in. Make sure all your wires fit in good, nothing's shorted out or disconnected. Put your cover back on. Alright, these belts don't need to be very tight. This is plenty good, most likely. But I don't quite like the alignment. It needs to be out just a little bit more. And that puts me off the edge here. But you can just turn this pulley around and that's just fine. There we go. That's tracking pretty good. I can even go in a little bit. You just want to make sure that belt's just straight in line. And we got proper keyway on here. That looks good. Alright, I'll tighten this up. When we test it under pressure, we'll make sure that that's not too loose. That could be just a little touch too loose there. I might have to move it over a little bit more. But we'll wait and see. I'll tighten that up, and then we'll get the electric hooked up. Before I get too far, I'm going to get all this dirt cleaned out of here. This is what the machine looked like when I picked it up. It was just completely coated in all that filth. And since I can get in here now with all the guards and that shelf off of there, might as well get it clean before I put it back together. Alright, I got the wires hooked up. We're ready to fire this thing up and see if it goes. It's going the right way. Alright, the belt is definitely too loose. You can see it slowing down there. And I hardly get any pressure up here because the hoses are still hooked up wrong. So I'm going to tighten that belt up first. Alright, that looks pretty good. It's not slipping now. So now I can worry about the hydraulics.